I'm still under this topic and talking about verbal communication. One of the points that are important is whenever we try or we get involved in communication, in relating, whether it's a topic like we spoke about earlier on, or an issue in our conversation, or the thing that we talk about, there's a topic that needs to be talked to, or whatever, it's an issue that has cropped up in that relationship. So try by all means, but that's our second point. Number one is listening, and two is manage anxiety. Managing anxiety. What do we mean? Why managing anxiety? Now, anxiety does not seem to be a verbal communication skill. In most cases, it's a non-verbal communication skill. When a person relates, on the basis that is anxious to find an answer, to give me an answer on this and whatever. So it falls, that's what I can say, under non-verbal communication. If you are anxious when relating with your spouse, you will not communicate anything to anybody because you will be so stressed out and even jeopardize the whole communication or relationship that, the thing, whether it was a good thing, to be listened to, and you can talk to it and be able to solve it. So you must learn how to manage your anxiety. Because it is an essential verbal communication skill. That managing it, because if you can manage it, you relate when you are anxious. Let's say there's something that has angered you, and you just need an answer in a very anxious way. How this thing has happened? Well, what happened to this thing? Because it is not going to solve any problem, because you are just putting your spouse at another space, or in another space that is also going to respond at that level, and there will be absolutely no solution in what you are trying to solve. And the third one, very important, also, it's connecting. So remember, we're talking about three things here. It's listening, it's managing anxiety, now it's connecting. Those are three skills that are so important in terms of how we relate with each other, we communicate with each other. Learning how to connect, there are two distinct, the types of language. This one, connection language and distancing language. Those two things are very important for us to understand how to connect. There's a language that makes you to connect with the other person, and there's a language that will continue to distance from yourself from your spouse, depending in the manner in which you communicate that language. So how you want to connect with that person. So connecting language, it uses direct active voice grammar with you. In other words, I want to connect with my spouse, I will not be passive. I will not talk past her. I will talk straight to the topic and straight to her. Because we've been exposed in a number of, incidents where if we have a gathering of couples and the person, instead of, saying, I think we need a session, a counseling session, and then we'll be asking us a question. What happens when somebody does this and this and that? Why is that somebody? Why? Because in a relationship, you need to be talking to each other because you have come together. If there's a problem, you need to create an environment conducive enough so that we can begin to share your heart with each other. And if you cannot do that while you are together, you come to a point of a conflict, that's not the end. But it is something for you to come to a point of saying, let us agree on this, that we don't see eye to eye. Let us shelve it, or else we can make time when we have enough time for it and talk to it. Because remember, you love each other. You are brought together within the scope of loving each other and from your heart. And one of the things that is so important for us to understand is that the love that we speak about here, it's a spirit of giving and sacrifice between each other. So connecting language uses an active voice grammar with a person. You're talking to a person. And the distancing language, it uses indirect passive, like I've explained it, passive language. Now, there are a number of things that we can have there in just, different environments, even if it is not about married people, where people will say, maybe we're addressing people and then you're not connecting. When you are not connecting with those people, it's like saying, today, 3 ideas will be presented. It is imperative that those ideas be mastered as quickly as possible. What are those ideas? You have already said that ideas will be presented, and people are still waiting for the ideas to be presented. And you go forth and then by saying it is important, imperative that those ideas will be implemented as quickly as possible. And people are left in the dark because still thinking, what are these ideas? And because this person is not just talking to us with an active voice, direct to us. It is so important. Like I said, when you connect with the person, don't talk behind, don't make examples that are fine. Don't just talk with the person by mere indirect, talking to a person and trying to convey the message, but you want to talk to this person, but via other people. Make sure that you talk to the right person. So, when you're direct to a person, let's say it's a classmate or whatever, when you share today, we're going to do lesson what? Lesson 2, lesson 3, and then we have to master lesson 3, and if we master this, we'll be able to do lesson this. Or today I'm going to be doing this, this and that, or this is how I feel when you do this and that. So you don't talk past a person, talk with a person. So that's what communication is. So I was trying to address now these 3 skills that are very important with us. It's listening, it's managing anxiety, it's number 3, it's connecting. And make sure that in connecting, we'll repeat again, it's connecting language, and distancing a language. There's language that can connect you with the spouse as you talk, because you are not talking indirectly. You're not trying to make an example with other person, but trying to talk with your spouse here. So make sure that you talk to him. So now as we continue, and we continue with this, then we say, the relationship between the two, that is the reason why we need to communicate effectively. It is based on love. You know, this is, the word that has been abused in our generation. I love, I love, I love. It's all over. It's being talked to in music. Talk about this. This love, the form of love spoken in this, in this context, it is known in biblical terms as agape love. Because every communication has got to find its own foundation from this word love. And agape love is a word that is overwhelming, used in the New Testament to describe the love of the Lord and the love which He produces in us. Every individual would just get herself involved in this institution called marriage. Very important to understand that if we get into this relationship with our emotions, with our looks, we just have to look at the person and see this person that by these features that I observe, I see, then it can be my partner, she can be person I love. Do I say there's something wrong with that? No, but the first thing that is important is the love that God instills in us, His own love, because that love that God instills in our own life, it means that wherever we are, whenever we try to love, God will produce that love in us. And we love in spite of and despite of. It's never influenced by what we have done, which is wrong, or never influenced by circumstances. It's a decision I have made, which is influenced by the loving God, that even if we have a conflict, then that love is still there for me to love at all, because that is the most important factor in the relationship of two people that have been brought by the living God. So this God will never cease to produce that love in us at all times. So one of the things, again, which that is so important when we begin to talk about this relationship, is that it's the word humility. Humility, it's all about the lowliness of the mind. If you go to the book of Philippians chapter 2, again, from verse 5 now, remember when we were reading, we says we must do nothing. Do not merely look out of your own personal interest. That cannot happen unless God has blessed us, endowed us with His own love. But also, we must do everything for the interest of the others. That will be speaking about your fellow people, whoever you relate with, and most of all, it will be relating to the person next to you. That you do nothing out of selfish interest. Whatever you do, you make sure that I have the best interest at heart for this next person, whom I regard him as a gift in my personal life or in my relationship.